Welcome to the Adaptive Outdoorsman Podcast. It is brought to you by Action Trackchair, a proud sponsor and champion of outdoor accessibility. Action Trackchair is committed to empowering individuals with mobility challenges to explore the great outdoors with freedom and independence. Whether it's hunting in rugged terrain, casting a line by the water, or hitting the trails for a hike, the Action Trackchair is the ultimate all-terrain wheelchair that empowers you to get outside. Custom build your track chair today at actiontrackchair.com. Action Trackchair, unlock adventure. I would like to introduce our guest, John Crawford, founder of Heatwave Hunting, a patented deer scent attractant. Thank you for coming on, man.
Hey, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. I got into the Heatwave Hunting stuff 2 years ago, and that was by our mutual friend, Dustin Huff, and I tried. Yeah, he is very good. I tried it, and we were talking about a little bit before the show about you were saying people, put it out, nothing happens. I tried it. I thought it was going to be warm enough, but then a snowfall hit, and this was the warm wick variety. Okay. So, we'll go into the deeps and, the details about how to use and everything, but I want to know more about you.
Yes, we got an amazing story.
Oh, there you go. Hear this story. I like stories.
All right, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be quite a ride. So I grew up in the Kansas City area. Always loved to hunt and fish. I had a couple bird dogs back in the day. They were really good bird dogs. They came out of Winchester kennels. Long story short, one was a pointing lab, and it was always fascinated me how bird dogs, they would follow a trail, that hot, cold scent trail, that kind of a thing. It was just absolutely amazing to me how they were able to work and those kind of things. Fast forward several years, we were having some difficulties. We hunted Texas, but Kansas river bottoms. Long story short, it was extremely wet year. And I think it was around the 2015, 2016 timeframe. We were really frustrated because we only have a certain window to hunt, etc. Long story short, we about midnight, we took a Stanley thermos and we drilled a hole in the top of it. And it's a little Stanley thermos. We drilled a hole in the top of it, and then we would take the microwave, boil up some water, drop the test tube down in it. And long story short, we put it out and we tried warming up scent. And it did enough to where they were like, I think there's something here. That we, at that time, all we knew was, so I'm a mechanical engineer by trade. Okay, I've invented many products. But at that time, all we knew that we could kind of hang our hat on was the warming it up. It allows the vapor to travel and get slowly released into the trade winds and those kind of things. Okay, So kind of put that, just kind of pause, because that's not really the story. The story becomes interesting when you actually know why the story is interesting. What I mean by that is, after we were able to prototype, I can tell you 10,000 ways, our technology platform will not work. Okay, we tried this, a patented deal, and it solves the 4 problems that plague the category today. The first problem is the product is rotten on shelf, and it's not any fault to anybody. It's just an organic. Urine is an organic substance. It's like lettuce. It's like bananas. The concept of it has an expiration date when it's exposed to oxygen. Our patented platform, it locks out that oxygen, and we call it the oxygen eater technology. So therefore, we solve that piece of the puzzle. It can sit on shelf. So we've got stuff here in 2018 that is just as good as the day we bottled it. And I was going to bring one on, but it's over there. We won't open that up today. Then the industry has another problem. They don't know how to produce the right signal. You might say, well, no, just hold her down a minute. I've got some battery-powered gadgets that warm things up, etc. I understand that. I worked for Energizer 23 years. I understand batteries. I understand alkaline batteries. I understand lithium batteries. I understand ether-based, all those details. I got it all. That was the first place I went to try to solve this scent delivery system. It's more than a scent delivery system. You have to understand the whole balance of system. You have to solve the rot. You have to protect and project the signal via the warmth, that type of thing. We're going to get into some fascinating insights as to why that is really, really key. Then the industry's also got a problem is most guys, hey, when do you use this stuff? How do you use this stuff? All right, we've got a whole platform, AI-based scent strategists that will work and collaborate with you, the user, at shelf, in your living room, wherever on the deer stand, wherever you want. It will. You can
Nice.
go through different scenarios. You can do all kinds of things. That's the third problem the category has. The fourth problem they have is they have a little thing called CWD. So if you do your research there in Google and those kind of things, you'll come across Harvard Medical. Interesting. Bacteria, prion growth in urine and those kind of things. Interesting. My point is there's a connection, we believe, to prion growth, CWD, and rotten urine that sits on the shelf. We solve all four. You keep it fresh. You don't have to worry about CWD. That's not even a thing. It doesn't grow prions. If you keep it fresh, then and only then can you project the signal that deer understand. Did you know that deer primarily communicate through scent, through the sense of smell, much like a bird dog? And so that every drop, that every scrape, it all carries a message, whether it's from a deer or a predator, etc. And that's what our whole platform is built upon, is that tactical message. You're able to send, we don't have them on the website anymore, but we have repellents as well. And you might go, what on earth? What are you doing? You're selling attractants and repellents? Well, if you hunt solo, you can block certain routes. You can do different things in a tactical manner. So the umbrella that owns Heatwave, the Heatwave platform, if you will, is a company called Tactical Vapor. And that's where it all is grounded from. So anyway, enough about that. If you don't mind, let me your platform here. I just got to give you just a shout out here, right? Because your podcast where it shows people how to push through challenges and still find a way to enjoy the outdoors. I love that. Absolutely love that, because that's the kind of the drive behind Heatwave in terms of adapting and making things work. Because as I mentioned, there's about 10,000 ways that this platform will not work. But once you get it right, it solves a host of different problems.
Yeah. All I'm thinking about when you said repellents in certain areas, creating a funnel so that way the deer don't go they don't go where you don't want them to go.
You're on it. You're 100% on it. Yes. Now you get it.
Yeah, you can definitely tell I'm thinking up tactics right now.
There you go. I love it. I can tell you look like a smart guy, but I didn't know. I was gonna reserve judgment, but I think you're.
Yeah,
you're
we'll reserve. My wife might disagree a little bit, but yeah, we're gonna reserve judgment on there.
Well, that's all right. I'm not here now, but
I've got 10 acres of like urban private land basically, and they come through and whatnot, and it's like I got a lane behind me that if I ever want to use it for like a tree stand, yeah, go there or set up in that area because it's a partial staging area. But the main one is a little area, an alcove that's right before the field. And I'm like, ooh, I need to direct them towards that, not towards that area.
There you go.
So that, yeah, I've got a whole boatload of questions now, and I don't know if I'll be able to get through them all. But with the repellent, how long does that take effect, and is it just when you're hunting and then nature takes its course and it just dissipates?
Yep. So no worries. So let's kind of answer your question indirectly, but yet directly, because it is dispensed. So warm wick, all it is a dispenser. It can be oil-based, it can be water-based. The point is synthetics, naturals. In this particular instance, some of the repellents, that would be more in the coyote urines and all those kind of a predator style, those kind of things. But to answer your question specifically, the warm wick will last a one-day hunt. And so when it projects, it warms the included urine vial that's in that kit for a one-day hunt. So you might say, well, speak clear, my friend. Well, probably 9 to 10 hours or so, depending on the outdoor temp.
Yeah.
And then it just converts over to a natural wick, a wick that we all understand today, which is the cold piece. Earlier, I mentioned the hot scent trail, cold scent trail. I kind of referenced that to a bird dog and those kind of things. So to speak really clear, warm wick will generate a hot scent trail for 9 to 10 hours, the concept of, and then it converts to cold scent and lasts for many days if you put it back into the zip seal and evacuate the air.
Nice. So pretty much way you're describing it, and I'm going through the motion here, is you turn it up, you pour it in, you open it up like normal. It displays the scent, so they know, okay, we're going to avoid this area. Then when you're done, you just come pick it up, grab it, put it back in the bag, walk off.
There you go. That's for a repellent. And again, I state they are no longer sold on the website today, right?
Yeah.
So we're focusing on attractants. And the reason why is because of the messaging piece. A lot of guys can't really understand until they do some critical thinking on what the warm wick has to offer. And here, let me give you some insights, okay? Now, this insight, I'm guessing, will change the way you think about warm wick, okay? So Mama Doe, when her fawns from day one, they follow behind her. When Mama Doe stops, perceives an area to be safe and secure, she may or may not take a leak. My point is, her fawns are behind. They smell that different smell. They associate that with safety and security. Sean, why is that? Because aroma changes of any substance changes with temperature. Once you understand that principle, a whole new world begins to form from a hunting perspective. Now you're able to communicate with deer the way that they understand and expect.
Basically, with like the warm wick or the buck beads, which I really want to know how about that one, because that's different to me than the normal, tinks or whatever. It's basically you spread that out, it masks your scent. Well, not really masks it, but overrides their sense of, okay, it's danger over here.
Yeah, you're kind of infatuated with the repellents, and you need to kind of, slow down on that.
For me, I was normally when I go hunting, you get your whatever the heck Tink's got out in the market, spray wise, and I just try because I use a ground blind, and I spray it around the ground blind, trying to mask my scent with that of the doe, so that or the doe and heat or so that way everybody doesn't smell human.
So deer can smell up to 7 different layers of smells. So that might be a good thing from a human perspective. From a deer perspective, they're like, I still smell.
I don't care.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's one of the reasons why I stopped trying to do the scent wash on my clothes.
Oh, there you go. Yes. No. So yeah, we're into the attractant category. And so the reason is individuals have to understand that piece first. The one thing that we can all get our heads wrapped around is fresh urine. If we can't get our heads wrapped around it, probably you're not our demographic. You're not our target. Because if you can't understand that yellow urine is supposed to be yellow as opposed to brown, probably we're not going to really be a fit for each other. We're used whenever trophies matter, if you will. And so when it comes down to the perfect signal and projecting that, then we're your product. We're your product platform.
So walk me through how would you utilize each of your products then?
All right. So trophy taker, let's take the first one is right out there, just bottles. Bottles of urine. So 4.5 to 5 ounce packs. And so the deal is it's got an oxygen eater inside. It's a small oxygen eater. It will stay in this zip pack. It's a special bag. So you might say, well, that doesn't look very special. Well, she's highly engineered. It's a highly special, high barrier bag. And so what you do is you snap one of those, the 4 vials off. You compress the bag and then zip it back up. The oxygen eater will stay inside. Therefore, it'll keep the remaining vials fresh until you use them. You'll obviously deploy some guys use cotton balls, some guys use a wick, everybody's got their own mode of operation on how they would like to use those kind of things. Long story short, you've got 3 vials remaining. You can see how you can break them off and those kind of things, and they stay fresh until the point of use. So natural deer urine will very quickly begin generating ammonia. Now it's a surface area play, and so what I mean by that, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 8. My point is, it will begin to degrade very, very quickly. And so long story short, that's the reason we keep it fresh until the moment you use it. We call it field fresh, and we guarantee it. And so we put our stuff in a clear bottle and guarantee it. So therefore, you know exactly what you get. You see it, and bucks trust it.
Yeah, I've been using that other stuff for so long, and I really don't think it works. And that's just from my personal use of it continuously. I mean, you've probably used it as well as I have when it was.
I did
And
indeed back in the day. And I was frustrated, and when I found out what was actually going on, I got a little bit irritable, to be quite blunt. You mean that I've been paying 50, 60, 70, 80 bucks a season on this rotten stuff?
yeah,
It
I
didn't dawn
mean,
on me. Urine's not supposed to be brown. What on
yeah,
earth? Now, then you might say, well, now listen, some of it is a different color, yellow. Yeah, it's because they add additives to it. So if it looks like lemonade, that means they're adding additives.
yeah, I don't
So we
like
certify
it.
ours and guarantee it.
Nice. Yeah, I was usually seeing like the stuff that usually comes in there, the little squirts or whatnot, trying to spread scent, and it just never truly works. And I've tried the gel, I've tried the mister, the buck bombs, the everything, and never
So they
works.
didn't address the root problem. The root problem is rot.
Yeah.
And then
So
do you understand why? Do you understand that in the wild for a deer, the enzymes in the soil and all that stuff, it takes care of it. There is no quote rot. Rot occurs in the bottle, on the shelf,
basic,
on the peg.
basically, right after they've processed it, packaged it with their preserves and everything, and how many months go by before that stuff even hits the shelf, and then the hunter gets it, and it's already bad.
You're on it. You're dialed in. That's exactly it.
So, what next product it would be the buck beads. How did that innovation come out?
No, honestly, it was just an afterthought. A lot of the guys, they want a delivery mechanism. They want something different. They want to stay above ground, so they just love to throw them out, and that forces the scent to stay above ground to get caught in the thermals. That's really all that is. And so we just do it because there was a perceived need and interest in that thing. Our flagship is in the Wormwick piece. When trophies matter,
Nice.
that's what you ought to be using. And the reason why you ought to be using it is because that's how deer communicate. And when you can communicate with deer and coerce them and give the impression that there's an immediate presence of a doe with opportunity, etc., you get the picture. Your advantages and odds can be greatly increased.
So, walk me through how you would use it in each of the weather scenarios, like warm, wet, cold, wet, or winter weather, basically.
All right. So Warmwick is built for the cold front. Okay. That's when bucks move. That's when we all want to be there. The problem is the industry's got a problem. It freezes. Now you could use the little battery warm up gadget kind of a thing. But here's the deal. Ours is structured in a disposable format. So it's the right scent at the right time without cross contamination. And why that's important is once you use doe and heat, for say, and then you want to back off, oh, dang it, I missed it. I didn't quite get the peak of you get the point. It's not, they weren't quite in rut. Well, you can't be sitting there pumping that stuff out. You're going to have to go back and use a mama doe or a scrape buck and doe without, not in the rut, etc. That's what we have to offer. We offer that clean break, if you will, without the cleanup hassle and those kind of things. So that's how you would use it in the cold, if you will. So now guys down in the south, Warmwick is important, but you got to understand what's going on. So body temperature of a deer is around 103 to 105 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, when those guys down in Louisiana are hunting, et cetera, is pretty warm, right? So that delta, that temperature delta, I personally would probably just use Trophy Taker. So that answers your question there in terms of when would you use Trophy Taker versus Warmwick. Warmwick it is dialed in with the body temperature, et cetera, but it excels in the cold front. Trophy Taker, yeah, if it's 50, 60, 70 degrees out, et cetera, I would just use Trophy Taker. Everybody's got their own strategies and their own thoughts. That's our proposal on it. And then the buck beads piece of the puzzle, it just keeps the urine from being absorbed into the ground. That's all that's doing. I guess that kind of answers that question. Now, you mentioned rain, so let's talk about rains. I would say your warm wick could be your better, so you'll notice how it hangs, etc. It can be out in the rain. You're going to be disappointed because in the rain, a lot of times the scent will be, they're just molecules. They're just, quote, little hot air balloons. They're going to be pushed down to the ground in driving rain. I use the word driving rain for you because that is when probably not many scents are going to be working. Now, in light rain, obviously, the warm wick. I still go back to warm wick. That is what it was created for. In fact, remember I mentioned the story about the warming up the water and those kind of things. How we first kind of got onto this theory. It was during a rainy season, and when we first tried it, it was kind of a light misty rain, and so that's kind of your answer in that scenario.
Nice. And so, how would it do against a cold front like snow coming in? Like everything's just, you walk into the stand or the blind and everything is nice and warm. You're like, you're cold, and then everything just starts, the temperature drops way down and you just get a nice snowing.
There you go. That's where we created. Yes, it'll sit there. So you take it out of the bag. You apply the included urine vial, half on each side and the side slots. And then it will begin to warm to the body temperature of a deer in about 30 minutes. And so I would clip that. What we do is we clip it onto our pack and we walk in. That lays that hot scent trail, and then it'll sit there and cruise for, it depends on if it's 0 degrees out, it might only cruise for 5 to 7 hours. If it's 30 degrees out, it might cruise for 10 hours, the concept of. And so that's kind of the hunting window, and there's nothing out there like it.
Yeah. Now, with that, would you recommend using both, like for cold front or so, obviously buck and heat? Would you recommend using both them at the same time, the doe and rut, doe and heat and buck and rut, basically?
Yep. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to check out our social media. And so a guy by the name of Kyle Birch did a beautiful, wonderful video. He approached us and said, hey, I used your trophy taker and your warm wick, and here's how I did it. And here's what it yielded, 200 and some class free range deer. But he told exactly. And so you want your trophy taker to be use that for the scrape, to maintain your scrapes. And then the warm wick, it really just creates the illusion of presence. That's all you're doing. The illusion of presence. So it's kind of like a decoy in your pocket, so to speak.
So basically,
but you don't have to drag in some noisy plastic thing.
Yeah, rattles are not my friend right now. But so pretty much, the warm wick you pour on not the warm wick, the trophy taker you pour where, like you get a little mock scrape.
It's like a deer taking a leak. That's all you're trying to replicate. You're just trying to recreate what deer naturally do and what they expect, and we've given you the tools to do it.
Yeah. Now, would you say the buck beads would work better for doing something like that, because they last longer above the ground?
Yeah, they'll sit above the ground.
Yep.
But you got to remember, okay, this is important, okay? So you're kind of tied into the buck beads, I can tell as well. So it's a surface area play. What I mean by that is whenever you expose any organic substance to oxygen, it will deteriorate faster. So buck beads, take the buck beads, think of that surface area on each of those balls. Okay, so it's going to degrade faster than it would be if, like, a warm wick. Warm wick will last a really long time because we do not have the whole surface area exposed to oxygen. It's really important for others to understand that piece.
Yeah. It's definitely, I'm just like looking at it from, okay, what's going to be the most tactical approach to doing this? What's the weakness of each, thing? What would be the best case scenario, worst case scenario for each of the products?
Your best case is using Trophy Taker right now for scrape maintenance to create that message board. That's what a scrape really is a message board. Here's a fun one for you, Sean. And so we get all kinds of comments, amazingly good, and some are just, it's very interesting on our social media stuff. And he says, hey, I take a leak on my mock scrapes. I don't need your stuff. And I thought to myself, wow, if he only knows the human urine is full of caffeine and fast food and all kinds of medications and all kinds of dietary stuffs, detergent soaps.
Yeah.
He just sprayed graffiti on the deer's message board. I mean, I don't know. How can you even, that type of mentality, how can you even, I can't get my head wrapped around it. We all know that your diet, if we have a nose to smell, your urine changes with what you eat. Deer understand that really well because they can smell really well.
So pretty much, if you're going to go to the bathroom, don't do it around where you hunt.
That is correct. You're just marking the territory you are telling them, you're leaving the mark of, hey, humans are here. That just doesn't work. That's not cool for you. Maybe your neighbor would enjoy it because deer would be more likely in his area, perhaps.
Now, wouldn't that get them used to the scent of humans in the area, though?
Most of us we only hunt probably 4 or 5 days a year. I'm guessing that probably isn't our best way to increase our odds.
Fair point. I'm not here to judge or anything like that. I'm just here. I'm here to learn.
I was gonna say, I gotta be honest with you. I'm a technology developer. I'm just here to help. And if we can help, I'm all about it. I'm all about giving you an increase in your odds. But I'm not here to sell you another bottle. We don't sell bottles, really. We sell outcomes. And so, for us, it's not a magic potion, et cetera. We're just preserving it in a way with unique technology that allows the hunter to then spar on a more equal ground with a big old buck.
So, how did you get the warm wick to work? I know you were talking about how you guys microwaved in the beginning, getting the water and whatnot. So, how did you get the warm wick to work with just activating it through the air?
Excellent. So, what we've got is an exothermic reaction. It is similar in nature to hot hands or a hand warmer, the concept of. Some guys go, well, that's what you did. Well, good luck to you. So the deal is exothermic reactions have to have oxygen to breathe, to get hot, to create that rust, to make that iron rust and produce that reaction. So our patents, they all comprehend how do you stifle an exothermic reaction and still get that heat as a byproduct. That's the fun thing. And that really is what a lot of our IPs around.
Nice. Yeah, I was wondering how that would work. And can you use that one box multiple times, or is that's a one and done basically then?
Well, that's fascinating you mentioned that. And so the answer is, if you're pretty shrewd on how you use things, we have a Ziploc bag. Remember, it's a high barrier bag. So here's an example. Here's what I do. When I climb out of the stand around 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, I will put it back into the bag. I'll press the air out and zip it. The dry chemical, odorless chemical reaction will stop. And therefore, then it's fresh when I want to go out, maybe the next day, or obviously, perhaps that evening. So that is a way that you can use it in multiple days. But let's just kind of cut it to the chase, though. I told you it was a 1-day hunt. And so if you use it for 9 to 10 hours all in a 1-day hunt, well, then that's a 1-day hunt. My point is, if you wanted to take that same 9 to 10 hours, the concept of, and put them over 2 or 3 days, you can do that. And you do that by using the included bag and the zip seal.
That's nice because I was setting those out when I was hunting, and I was like, oh crap, this is a one and done thing versus now I know, oh, hey, you were only out for a couple hours or whatnot. You want to try it again, bring it back in, close it up. It's still there. It's still in the bag. You can just open the bag up and let it go for a little while longer.
And then kind of support your thoughts. Let's say you were to go the entire day. The heat now has expired. Here's the fun thing that just happened. You flashed all the water off. That's the main primary driver for producing the ammonia, stink, rot kind of smell, if you will. And now you've just got the dry solids left. And so you're going to put that back in the bag and you're going to go, dang it, that thing still smells good after a week or two. I'm telling you, it is a one and done from the heat perspective in terms of that duration that we just spoke about, but you can leverage it couple of weeks. In fact, it's very interesting. We had trail cams on a particular setup several years ago, and it lasted for several months. Deer would come by and smell it, and it was in the snow and those kind of things. So anyway, long story short, we're not suggesting that it lasts several months. I'm suggesting in that instance, in special cases, it would. You need to remember it's a one-day hunt kit.
Nice. Well, knowing how to utilize it in a very specific way, or, extending out something like that is very, very helpful, especially when you're trying to communicate with deer over time. And obviously, money is tight in some people's cases. They can only get one or two product or whatnot. Being able to utilize that over and over again.
There you go. So now, if you don't mind, let's talk on price points. That's a fun thing.
Right.
And so we offer approximately 4 vials of about 1.5 ounces per vial. Here's my point. We offer a much better cost per ounce than most any product on the market that I'm aware of. And we put it in a clear vial and for all to see. There's nothing to hide. And so you see it, and bucks trust it.
Nice. So how often do you use the product, and
every time I go
do
out?
you do it?
Mm-hmm.
And what way do you use it?
Okay, so social media last year, I put a big dissertation on how and all those little details to kind of just do a quick highlight of that past scenario. We took out multiple doe and heat. We put them on a ridge. It just so happened that the prevailing winds were going right along that ridge. And we put, as we walked in, we just placed one about every 100 feet or so. The concept of it was pretty close up the ridge, and then it just acts like a net, if you will. And they just follow the scent on in. And that's what happened in that particular instance. That's one example. But usually you can hunt with the wind. You don't have to hunt downwind. You can now hunt upwind. You're able to because you're able to use it as a distraction mechanism. And so deer, you're creating the illusion. So when you create the illusion of presence, they're focused on that. It allows you to pull your bow back and those kind of things. Whereas you can't when they're on high alert with some curiosity, scent of some sort of thing like that.
So with the wind in utilizing this, how would you approach, say, you're back in an area and it's just swirling around you and going all over the place? How would you approach that with the warm wick or just the scents in general?
I guess, first of all, we got to make sure we all understand the premise that hygiene is still, all those measures that we all understand vividly are still very much important, right? So all we're doing is creating the presence of a deer. That's all we're doing, okay? And so to answer your question specifically, it's if it's in rut, you use doe and heat, you use buck and rut. If it's not in rut, then use mama doe or a scrape talker, which is just a buck and a doe out of rut. But mama doe is your one that you're going to want to go. Maybe I'm wanting to reposition your question slightly.
Mm-hmm.
Which one will never let you down? And that's mama doe, because the big bucks trust mama doe. And some guys it's difficult, right? Sometimes to tell when are the deer in my area really in rut. Mama doe will not let you down. Mama doe is that validation signal, that silent safety signal that we spoke about, that she taught her fawns from day one. You're just recreating that unique moment in time for up to 9 hours, rain, snow, sleet, or shine.
Nice. Yeah, I was thinking, should I use... Now, you got me convinced. Mama doe is probably the best one. And I bagged Mama doe last year, so there's got to be a new one out this year. But would you primarily would use Mama doe over, even in the rut, over buck and rut or doe and heat, basically?
You are very, very perceptive, and so that is 100% correct. The market enjoys doe and heat. That's what they've been taught. That's what influencers will say. That's what they've been coached, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, big bucks trust mama doe, and big bucks want to be where other does are. Other does don't want to be with the doe and heat. Think about that.
I did not know that one, actually.
Guaranteed.
Does don't want to be where another
They don't
doe
want
is
no
in heat.
when they're in heat, then they're amenable to certain things. But when they're not in the heat, they're not a part of it. You can kind of read between the lines, obviously, on that.
Yeah.
But big bucks, they want to know right where the does are, and they always use them as a shield. All you're doing is you're creating that shield.
Yeah, and that makes sense when, we've been told the does always go first, and then the buck will come out afterwards.
You're on it.
So you're pretty much just eliminating the need for the does to come out first, and he's already got the scent of, oh, there's does in the area. Okay.
Yes, you're on it. You've nailed it. And so I coined the phrase, the silent safety signal. That's what Mama Doe does. She creates the silent safety signal that was taught to fawns from day one. You're just recreating that unique moment in time of up to 9 to 10 hours, rain, snow, sleet, or shine. It's amazing stuff. And it's so simple. But yet it solves so many problems.
And using it in a very specific way that attracts, or not really attracts, but calms the area down. Because I've lost track of the amount of times I've been blown out.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah.
And a lot of that blown out is the rotten stuff that you use. They know that's not. Young bucks are going to be curious sometimes because people, oh, Crawford, I've been using Tink 69 for whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you don't have any big bucks on the wall. Immature, they're curious, right? That's how the deer are. They're curious. But the big bucks, they've gotten shot at over that stuff. They learned a lesson quick. They don't fall for that. Oh, here's a fun one for you, and this is really important that you're going to really want to know. Okay, when you use our product and a deer will approach, they're not going to come in alert. They're going to come in with their ears kind of hanging down. You're talking to them in their language. Why should they be alert? They've known this signal forever. My point is, you will notice an immediate difference with warm wick.
Dang, that's
now you might. Can we go back to if you don't mind, the battery powered stuff? So I don't want to gig on any of that kind of stuff, okay? But here's what I want to tell you. I want you to make sure we're all on the same page. It's not just about warming urine up to the body temperature of a deer. It's about warming fresh urine up to the body temperature of a deer. You have to have, it's a 2-part equation that you've got to solve both parts of the equation before you can release the real signal that big bucks go, yeah, that's it. So I just kind of a little, probably something that one would want to think on, to kind of reflect on and get really down deep, that it is a 2-part solution.
Yeah. Now, I wanted to jump a little bit because I've been on, browsing your website, and it showcases the board of directors. Now, is this each of the guys that just has used your product and gotten some? And I'm looking at pictures right now, and they've gotten.
They're big boys. I tell you what, they're big boys that are not afraid to tell you, listen, go back to the drawing board. No, they are consulted. They are board of directors. They help shape the communication strategy. No one is paid. We don't use influencers. Either the product is able to stand on its own or it doesn't. We are very confident in it because we've seen the results. Quite honestly, we have nothing to prove. People just have to use it if they want. I don't know if that helps you or not.
I'm looking at big bucks right now. I'm kind of distracted in a way. I'm like, oh my. Those are the racks I want on my wall.
There you go. That's right. So any of those guys will be more than happy to discuss things with you. They'll do their own videos. They'll send us their own stuff. I mean, they're like,
I use this. I use it, and that's all I care about. Like,
and I tell you what, just a little bit of an interesting insight. They're all farm boys, and they don't go gimmicks and all that nonsense. They don't have time for it, and so they will only put their time and their efforts behind something such as this that they actually believe in. That's very important. We don't do the influencer piece of the puzzle. We don't have a group of individuals sitting on social media commenting. We don't do that. Why? Why would we want to do that? We want to promote the lowest cost product, the best possible product at the lowest cost.
Yeah. I've talked with individuals, like for podcasting, you're talking with them for sponsorship or partnerships with them and all that. And I've talked to one company and they were like, we want you to try our product first before we even think about doing something like that. And I definitely understand the concept behind that. And that's what you guys got here, except we're trying your product because we enjoy your product. We don't care. We're buying it.
There you go. Yep.
I mean, that's the same way I have with Phelps Game Calls. I got the Beta Pro buck runt. And I can say with 100% certain, I bought the thing, I've used the thing, my dog's chewed on the thing, and it's still kicking, and it has attracted doe, it has attracted bucks, it has attracted yearling fawns, the works.
So if you don't mind, let's take that. You combine that with the scent piece of the puzzle and a decoy. You've got yourself the perfect 3-sensory illusion. Something for you to think on.
I need to get a decoy.
I'll tell you what, about out of the week when they're just the first stages of the rut, they're pretty they're really, it's pretty amazing. You can create that illusion.
Oh,
it's amazing.
Yep. Get a buck decoy out there, pour some of the buck in heat or whatnot. I don't know. Why am I using heat? I don't know. Buck and rut.
There you go. Yes.
Yeah.
And so
I'm blaming sleep deprivation again.
You've been up a long time now. So, but here's how we got a Flambeau Big Boss decoy. And I took the sheet metal screws and I put them in the back hocks, and we'll hang them on the back hocks. And honest engine, this is important. Deer will come in, they'll approach, and they'll have their nose down because they want to make sure that is exactly they've gotten shot over. So those kind of things. So they're checking. So the height of your one wick is going to be very important. They're double checking. And then I take my little we have a little Primos decoy, the one that kind of waves his head. I really enjoy that one. Long story short, converted the old feller over to a doe, and you just put it back on the back of her. The worm wick. You pair them up, and the pair is quite. It produces quite dramatic results. We've got some footage where the decoy he'll be run over, and it can be quite entertaining at times.
Yeah,
if you don't mind, so here's just a really quick one, then maybe we want to wrap it up. I don't know, but here's the point. Here's when I knew we had it. Okay. So we were first starting out. We had the decoys and those kind of things, and I didn't know really what we had. We had to kind of work through some deficiencies and those kind of things. But here's the fun thing: big buck comes in, and I'm right above, and he's looking at the decoy, and I move around because I want to try this out. And so I move around in the stand. He looks up at me, and he looks at that decoy, and I move around a little bit, and he looks up at me, and there's that decoy, and he's like, "That's real." And I don't know what you are, but that's not a problem right now. The point is, he attacked that decoy, and I was sitting there trying. And it was not a year. It was I don't know, probably 2 or 3 year old. It wasn't a massive, but it was a mature deer. I just thought it was kind of fun.
The one you were after. It
wasn't. There you go.
Yeah.
It wasn't the one I was after.
Sorry. You're after, you were like, I want to know, and I know you could say it more better than me. I just want to get this out of my head because it's in there. But you were experimenting on how that would work for him and basically saying, okay, I'm done. This person is not important to me. Don't care. They can do jumping jacks up there and I'll just ignore them now.
So to substantiate your thoughts, I was looking for what is the root driver behind their preservation mechanism. What I mean by that is the nose. The nose prevails. The nose told him that it was safe. His eyes, he sees me up there. I'm a big old fat blob up at the top of a tree. The point is, he's like, no, it smells right, and I propose that is their primary defense messaging mechanism, if you will.
Basically, you're overriding their sense of safety with the smell of fresh doe, mama doe, and then, oh, well, I'll just go over here and spend time with her, or spend time with this one, or, oh, they may be behind the tree. I can't see them right now. I'm going to go over there and have a nice day.
You're on it. You're exactly. Yeah, you got it. You're dialed in. Even though you don't have much sleep, you're still dialed in. And so,
Hey, I'm a father of a soon-to-be 5-month-old. She's going to be 6 months come
oh
bow season.
my gosh.
So, yeah.
So you've not had much sleep then, have you?
Oh, yeah, I'm always up like that. I got up for work today, and my alarms are ringing. I'm drowsy as ever, and I wake up and I see, it turned from 59 to 00. Not paying attention to it's 4 in the morning. I'm getting up a little later than normal, but it's 4 in the morning. And I'm thinking it's 5 a.m. I'm late, so I gotta call into work saying, "Hey, use a PTO point on there so I don't get pointed." And then, it's 4:09. I guess I gotta get up and go to work. And so,
poor guy. I remember those days.
yes. Well, I'm hoping that eventually, so I don't have to do that unless it's for getting up before dawn, get into the stand or blind, and wait for that magical buck or doe to show up and have meat in the freezer for the next year.
I like the way you're thinking. Yeah, you got it dialed in.
Oh, yeah. I know some recipes that I'm going to try this year, and I want.
Oh, there you go. That sounds good.
So, do you want to tell everybody how to reach you via social media and everything? I
got to be honest with you. Yeah, let's just leave it at Instagram and Facebook. We put all of it out there. We have nothing to hide. This is my secondary job. I do not have time to discuss and cuss and all that kind of stuff with everybody regarding every scenario. Don't have time for that. Really have no interest in that. And so what I want to do is I want to put out a product that people can use, increase their odds, attract, calm, and hold big bucks better. And I want to then give them the platform, as we have, RutDoc, that they can use 24/7 at their discretion on any deer-related topic to help them succeed. That's what I want to do.
Nice.
Because I can help more people that way than I can taking calls and that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. I was about ready to ask about RutDoc, and I'm glad we were able to cover it before we left.
It is truly an amazing tool. It will guide you at retail. So we've got a QR code. You can sit there and it'll talk to you. You describe whatever situation or scenario that you have. It will help guide you as to the product that you need that is best for you and your time of hunting and those kind of things. And it will also do much, much more than that in terms of theory, all types of hunting setups, you name it. It pretty much will cover most of those topics and kind of coach you through how to use and kind of elevate your experience.
Nice.
And most importantly, 24/7.
That works. Hey, I've got a question at 11 at night and the opening day's tomorrow. What am I going to use? Boom.
Boom. Done. Seriously. It is that type of tool. And that's really what the industry has been needing, is that type of coaching, that type of insight, so that hunters can make intelligent decisions, right? Without having to guess. Don't guess. Just ask RutDoc.
Open AI for hunters.
There you go. Perfect. You're on it. Yeah, you got it.
Well, thank you, John, for coming on and talking about Heatwave hunting and giving me insight on how to use it, because holy cow, I definitely plan on using something like that this year. I've got tactics, I got plans to do stuff with that.
There you go. You got it all. And you got time on your hands because you're awake, because you've already been there. I'm just teasing. Right. So, but thank you so much for having me on. It's been just a wonderful time, and I really appreciate your
thank you for your patience. Thank you. And thank you for your patience with my very, very well, not so thought out ideas and thoughts.
Oh, it's all good. All good. Yep. Well, thank you so much. You have a wonderful day and a great weekend.
You too. And thank you, everybody. And remember, stay adaptive.
Excellent.